Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.
Hey, Trojan family, what's up? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Dyberd. Thank you for always making this a part of your day, or making this multiple parts of your day. Obviously, a lot of videos I'm throwing at you, a lot of information. So appreciate all of you for always tuning in, for subscribing, for commenting. It's awesome. So I love it. Keep it up. Let's keep this thing rolling. But a lot of big updates coming at you right now. Practice just wrapped up. It's Monday evening. Typically, I would be in the Diary Dojo, in the Downey parking lot on USC's campus. Unfortunately, my wife got sick today, and so I had to pick my daughter up from school. So I was unable to make it to practice, but, was able to hear the interview. USC Athletics always puts it up anyway. So I checked out Riley's comments, and I at least want to report back to all of you based on just my understanding of those and break that down. I will be at practice, barring my wife's feeling better, on Thursday and Friday is our media availability this week. So I'll be there in person for the rest of these bowl practices up until the Alamo Bowl. And I've had a few people ask, I don't know if you really care, but if I'll be at the Alamo Bowl down in San Antonio. I wish. We are expecting our second child, another daughter, cannot wait. Our due date is literally 4 days after the Alamo Bowl. January 3rd, 4th is our due date. So I would definitely lose my dad card and would probably no longer be welcome in my bedroom if I decided to go down to San Antonio and potentially miss the birth of my second child. So I will not be in San Antonio, but I'll be reporting from here in Los Angeles, maybe from a hospital, but hopefully from right here if my daughter either comes before that or hold on a little later. So anyway, if anyone was really wondering, I've seen a couple comments and I'll comment back to you there personally also, but just for those that do care. But today, some big updates. So first, as we're going to do on all these video updates, 2 more signings announced. I believe that puts up to 4 where the social team, put the 6 hourglasses. So I think that they are now, let me see here. Get the math right. There was 6 going to be announced, and they've announced 4. So 2 more coming, whether that's tonight they're announced or tomorrow. Lincoln Riley did say today in his presser that they have a lot more guys re-sign and coming back next year. That they'll just kind of stagger those announcements, and they do kind of have a cadence and reasoning for that. So just because there's only, 6 more coming does not mean that they have not re-signed anyone else. There's probably a pretty loaded roster already set. So the 2 announced today, or since my last video, I should say, were Tanook Hines. Again, no surprise, but great sigh of relief as he is expected, barring a big transfer portal addition, which, as I've said many times, I do think they'll go and try to land one of the premier wide receivers in the portal. But as of now, Tanook Hines will be your wide receiver 1, with the infusion of talent coming in. I don't need to go down that line. I've talked a ton about it, but Trent Mosley, Boobie Feaster, Caden Dixon-Wyatt, Luke Weaver, so on and so forth. Well, just not Ramiro Eisen, he's already a freshman. Roderick Tazino and Tron Baker, along with Ramiro Eisen, Corey Sims, and the other young cats that are already in the building and will get some run in this bowl game, which I'll get to. So Tanook Hines resigns. That's great. Phenomenal freshman season that he had, and that's playing with the Blitnikoff winner and with Jacoby Lane, 2 really alpha receivers, and he still had a phenomenal season in his own right, even statistically, and was actually the leading receiver against a very good Oregon team in Eugene as a true freshman. That game to me showed you that Tanook Hines can lead this room next year if needed. The fact that he was the leading guy, obviously Mekhi Lemon had 3 total touchdowns. Jacoby Lane had some massive catches, but that game showed you that Tanook Hines has the ability to be the true wide receiver one if needed. If USC decides not to go and make a splash in the portal, which I still think they will, but if they decide not to, they're still going to be okay. Like, I believe that, if they can get like a Nick Marsh, or if one of these other big name receivers ends up entering, like, I think it would help with not just the development of some of the guys, but also just having a lead guy that's had a lot of reps already in the game. Because you just don't want to go into next year with so much inexperience. But if they do, I don't think it's like a doomsday scenario. Like, there is so much talent in the room. It'll be interesting to see how quickly those guys can get up to speed, and some of the young guys that are already there, how quickly they can kind of take over that role. So, but yeah, Tinnakine's proved that he can be that guy, if need be, and will be that guy in the future. So, great season. Great to see him. Silent relief. The other, Killian O'Connor, again, not a big surprise. Unfortunately got injured throughout the year a little bit, even after winning the starting role, and then ended up having, season-ending surgery towards the end of the year. And so because of that, if he does want to make a go to make it to the NFL, which obviously he does, all these guys do, he would want to come back another year and really, put a bunch on tape and hopefully stay healthy the whole year. So he will be slotted as, your starting center. I've said before, I think Kalen Miller is suited better at center versus guard. So I think going into the offseason, we'll see what happens during the bowl game and who plays where, but I think he'll compete for that. And then, obviously some of the young guys coming in and some of the young guys still on the roster, but specifically a guy like Brett Kolejay, I think can compete for starting center from day one. And so we'll see kind of how that competition will land. But Killian O'Connor, whether it's starter or depth, I think is a great player to have back on this roster, great player to have in that locker room, and a great player to have on that practice field. So great to get that signed and done and moved on with. So,
all right, people, serious question time. Did you know that driving high is considered driving under the influence? That's right. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every state. That means even in states where marijuana is legal. That means driving high could get you a DUI. And if you think law enforcement officers can't tell when you're driving high, well, you're wrong. If you're high, they can tell. Your friends can tell. Your coworkers can tell. Even your parents can tell. Everyone can tell. So what makes you think that law enforcement officers don't know when you're driving high? You'd be wrong. They can tell too. Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your response time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive when you're high, you're not. Because the bottom line is, if you feel different, you drive different, and driving high is driving under the influence. So remember, drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that'll change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
A few other updates when you talk about bowl game player status. So trying to figure out kind of who is going to be playing and who is not going to be playing based on the draft and eligibility. So obviously anyone that's announced that they're entering the transfer portal, so your Brian Jacksons, your Harry Daltons, like they obviously will not, unless barring anything changes, they will not be playing in the bowl game. So those we kind of know. And then when you look at like draft guys, Mekhi Lemon and Lincoln Riley confirmed all these. So Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, Kamari Ramsey, Bishop Fitzgerald, Lake McCree, Eric Gentry, Anthony Lucas. Those guys will not be playing in the bowl game. And then you look at Killian O'Connor, I mentioned, coming back, but he is still, recovering from surgery. Elijah Page also had surgery, so he will not be playing. And Jahkeem Stewart, this was another big update here. And I want to dive into this a little deeper because this shows you, A, the talent of this young man, but B, this is a culture-defining player for this USC Trojans team. So Jahkeem Stewart had foot surgery immediately after the UCLA game. I mean, right after, not like that same evening, but at the end of the season, had foot surgery to repair a stress fracture that he suffered in fall camp. Remember, he ended up missing the first game of the season. It was seen in a walking boot at the Salute to Troy event. There's a lot of concern, but only ended up missing that one game and then played. We've kind of reported it. You know, it's kind of touchy with injuries. There's only so much you can say. But obviously, when you see someone in a boot, you can mention it. And so basically the entire year, Stewart was in a walking boot during the week. But then he played every game then on forward. And so, like Riley specifically said, like that just shows you the type of player he is, how tough he is, that he not only played, there goes my pen, not only played the entire season with a stress fracture, but also played at a very high level as a true freshman and showed the ability he has, the motor that he has, the strength and power that he has as a true freshman with essentially a broken foot to some degree, and still being able to dominate with the tackle for losses, with breaking through Big Ten offensive lines. And so that shows you a couple things, right? Like obviously great freshman season, awesome, but it also shows you like, okay, he was hampered throughout the year because of the injury. So obviously couldn't play at 100%, but then his preparation was stunted. Like, and Lincoln Riley mentioned that today, like they were unable to get him adequately prepared just because he didn't really practice all that much. Like obviously he was on the practice field. He was still going through workouts. He was in all the film sessions and stuff. So he was fully a part of the team. I don't want anyone to take that out of context, but he's not fully padded hitting in practices because he's, in a walking boot during the week. So the fact that he was still able to accomplish what he accomplished without having a full season of real preparation leading up to these big time games, I mean, that has to get you real excited for the type of player he is in terms of just his work ethic and culture and toughness, but also just skill level. So you figure gets the surgery repaired. If he can be fully healthy going in the next year and actually be able to practice every single week in a full capacity, I'm talking Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Like let's make predictions here on December 15th. Jahkeem Stewart, I think, if healthy, can be the defensive Big Ten Player of the Year. And like I've seen enough. I thought that anyway, but now knowing that he was dealing with, we had the idea, but it wasn't confirmed, but now getting confirmation that he was literally hurt all year and still accomplished what he accomplished, that's got to get you fired up. And that's got to get your teammates fired up, knowing that he did that next to you, went to war with you every single week, not being fully healthy. In a day and age of football, and I'm not knocking anyone, so I don't want it to come out the way, but in a day and age where not a ton of guys, many do, but not a ton of guys are playing injured, right? I think that I heard some quote of like, there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured. Not a lot of guys are playing injured, which you shouldn't be. I'm not advocating that, hey, you're not tough if you don't play injured. But when you find someone that does and still has success, it's a unicorn. That dude is a unicorn. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'm not trying to poo-poo anyone that doesn't play injured because it can actually stunt your growth and stunt your future if you injure something worse. For two, you just might not be as good, so you're actually hurting your team. And three, it's malpractice and negligence of like the coaching staff to put someone out there that's not fully healthy. So I'm not downplaying that, but I'm just saying like Jahkeem Stewart's a unicorn, and now we knew how good he was and how good he could be, and now we really know how good he is and how good he really can be. And so last thing on that, there was a lot of questions. We had a lot of people asking in the live show also, and we kind of speculated, but there was a lot of times during the games when he would be dominant. He would be clearly the best defensive lineman on the team. Clear. And that's not knocking Devin Tompkins or Keyshawn Silver, but you could see in certain reps, like, okay, Jahkeem Stewart was just different as a true freshman. And he never really got a ton of reps. Like, he would kind of have, 3 reps here, get taken off. And the defensive line was always going to do a rotation. We knew that and know that going forward just in this Dantlin system. That's kind of how they want to keep guys fresh. But there were moments like, all right, he's clearly the best guy out there. Why are we taking him out? This now is more information as to why. Like, right? Like, he's playing hurt, and he might be able to be explosive for a certain number of reps, but the more reps you're out there, you're going to lose some of that explosivity. You're going to lose some of that endurance. You're going to lose some of just not practicing all week. And so you want to just be like, hey, if you've got 20 reps for me, give me 20 100% reps. Let's not push it to 30 reps when those last 10 reps are not going to be near the same. So I think that's very clear, the reasoning why we kind of saw his reps never grow as much as maybe a lot of people thought they should have. So hats off Jahkeem Stewart. What a get from the 25 class. And I'm calling it now, December 15th, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. Let's just call it now. As long as he's fully healthy going into fall, I'm calling it now. Let me know your thoughts. Comment that. Is that a hot take? I know that's maybe a homer take, but is it a hot take or how do you guys feel how realistic that is? So what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Maiava, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USCLAFB. That's going to give you a matched deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. Other little tidbits from practice. Jaden Maiava, quarterback, did practice. I think he has been practicing, but, first we were able to see, did practice. So to me, that indicates he's playing in the game. Obviously, there's still speculation or onus or questions if he will declare. Obviously, he has the eligibility. I think I've said before, I think it would be wise of him to come back another year. But depending on what quarterbacks ultimately declare, like if everyone but Fernando Mendoza decides to come back, like maybe he should go because out of just necessity, he'll be the second quarterback taken. So I don't want to see that happen. Obviously, I would love to see him back with the Cardinal and with the Cardinal in red and leading this team next year. And, we've talked about what that means for Hussein Longstreet, and, we can get into that maybe in the next couple weeks as we get closer to the bowl game. But indications are he will play. Hussein Longstreet probably will get some reps as well. Obviously he's practicing, no surprise there, as he should be. But I would expect him to get some reps. Obviously you play to win this game, but as Lincoln Riley says, and as I've said, like this is kind of now a really opportune time to get valuable game time reps on a big stage for players that haven't seen any all year. And so if you can give Jaden Maiava a half and you feel good enough about Hussein Longstreet that can still, win you the game, why would you not give him the second half? Now, what does that mean going into 2026? Like, is that kind of like an audition and leading into, spring practices of a true quarterback competition? And Coach Riley has said before that every year he wants a quarterback competition. Like, he's not going to name the starter right off the bat. Now, back when he had Caleb Williams, it was, everyone knew it was his team and whatnot, and I think everyone knows this is Jaden Mayava's team, but you still kind of keep that open competition, iron sharpens iron mentality to kind of get it done. So yeah, he will play, and we'll see how much or if Husan Longstreet plays also. And then, we can talk future about that as we get closer. Don't want to speculate on that for now. I mentioned Prophet Brown last video, re-signing with the team, which signifies he did get his medical red shirt. As I did that video, he came out to practice, so all indications are he will also play in this game, which will be awesome to see him back on the field, knock off some of the rust, and hopefully get some game time experience going into next year, where he will compete to kind of be, yet again, the starting nickel like he was going into this past season. Or we'll see if he had to change his positions a little bit with some of the new guys coming in, so will be interesting to see. And then also DeCarlos Nicholson has been practicing this week. It's his last year of eligibility. You never know if guys like that will just opt out in order to fully prepare for the draft, but it looks like he wants to play, wants to finish his career playing with the Trojans in the bowl game. Great to see. Love that. And then Jamal Jarrett, guy who got injured late in the season, obviously prepping for next year, but he has been practicing, so he was not on the official not playing out list that Lincoln Riley released. So looks like he will play, most likely, barring anything changing in the next 2 weeks. He will play as well. So there's all your kind of big newsy information from practice. Other than that, just, Coach Riley talked for about 9 minutes or so and talked about the importance of this game. I thought he hit the nail on the head when talking about bowl season. And, it'll sound petty maybe, but for all the Notre Dames out there that decide to opt out of playing the bowl game and pout about their situation, USC and many other teams see this as such a huge opportunity for A, the extra practices, because you get now these bowl week practices, but B, for players that did not play real meaningful snaps to get big time snaps on a big stage, in a big game situation. Now, whether you believe the Alamo Bowl and TCU is a big time game, if you're a guy that's never played in college before or have like 10 reps to your name, it's a big time game. It means something. It's meaningful. And you get all these practices leading up where the competition is great and fierce, and that just spills over into the 2026 season. So, Coach Riley's talking about this is such a huge opportunity. Obviously, we're playing to win the game, but this is just such a great chance for our program and our roster to continue to build towards what we're building for the greater goal. And, that's going to spill over into next year. So we will see a lot of guys probably that we didn't see all season, just because of a lot of the guys I listed that will not be playing in this game. No update on Wayman Jordan. Obviously, I talked about, he re-signed, so he'll be back, but no update if he will play or not in this game. But again, considering he wasn't on that immediate non-playing game, it looks like he might play as well. So just a really, and with Brian Jackson and Harry Dalton in the portal, they probably kind of need, and Eli Sanders obviously injured and ineligible after the season, probably kind of need Wayman to play. Wayman, King, and Riley Wormley are really your three backs on the roster for the bowl game. So, but yeah, so there you have it. So that's kind of your practice report update. A lot of tidbits of information there, and plenty more coming throughout the week. Like I said, I will be at practice on Thursday and Friday, barring my wife feeling better. As long as she's good to go and can pick my daughter up from school, I will be there. We'll talk to Danton Lynn, Coach Lynn, on Thursday, and defensive players, and we'll get Coach Riley and offensive players again on Friday. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button here at the USC LAFB show. I appreciate you all so much. Let's just keep this thing growing. And make sure to check out our forum, LAFBnetwork.com. Go to the message board. I put all the information there. So if you want just really easy to digest, actual words instead of hearing me talk, it's all there. Plus all of our other LA sports content. And yeah. And so, subscribe here, become a member. If you want to become a member, you get some merch discounts. We have all of our merchandise below. I'll be launching something new before Christmas, but make great stocking stuffers. So why not check it out? But yeah, appreciate you all, and have a great rest of your evening. I'll be back first thing tomorrow morning talking all things USC. As always, family, fight on.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.